society meeting, if I'm not.
Yes.
Long back, maybe 4 or 5 years back, or maybe
definitely 3 years back.
Correct. I remember that. Yeah, great. Nice to be on this platform with you. You are such an accomplished person, so it's really a delight.
No, sir. Your accomplishments are amazing, and so is so many people. I'm so pleased meeting and talking to Darshana. So I'm in a very elite company. So.
No, absolutely. No, I think these people are doing a phenomenal job. So it's really pleasure to be here. I cannot agree more. Absolutely right.
Thank you very much to both of us.
Now, how do I unshare? Let me see if
it's already unshared, sir. We
great,
can't see.
Great. Okay, great. All right. So I'm all set. Great. Okay. Thank you.
So already 6:01. So we can start the event. Vijay, do we have a go ahead to start from your side? Like the live stream is all good?
Do you have my files, or do you want me to share mine also?
Do you want to try sharing? No, so he tried just sharing from his computer. So do you want to just check if the sharing is working on your computer? So,
I thought, Ananta had mailed it to you, did he not?
Let me just check.
Maybe. No worries, I will share.
Okay, you can just try sharing here right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't have the slides, so yeah.
Can you see my slides?
Not yet. Now we can see your computer. Okay. So your team.
Yes. Can you see now?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Wow. Okay. They look amazing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Nivruti ji.
Rachana, you're muted.
No, I was asking Vijay if we have all the. Okay, great. Thank you everyone. So, hello and good evening, everybody. I am Darshana Joshi. I am the founder and CEO of Vigyan Shala, and I am extremely delighted to welcome two very distinguished guests to our mission launch, where we have set up ourselves a goal of mentoring 10,000 girls in the next year and a half by December 2023. We want to bring 10,000 girls into full-time STEM careers and nurture and pair them with global mentors who will be part of their inspiring journeys. Before we introduce our guests, which my colleague Dr. Anushila Chatterjee will do, I would like to walk everyone through a quick synopsis of what Vigyan Shala's program Kalpana is and what it is trying to accomplish. So, globally, women make less than 28% of the STEM workforce. In India, the figure is even more worrisome, which is around less than 15% of the workforce. A lot of factors have been attributed to the lack of women in STEM workforce, and a major being the girls not being able to relate to people who are out there. So if you can't see who you want to be, how will you be that? So through Vigyan Shala's program Kalpana, we bring our girls a mentoring opportunity where we pair them up with global mentors, bring them global role models in STEM, such as our distinguished guest today, and help these girls plan long-term career and vision clarity through advanced STEM skills and exposure that our program gives them. So we are on a mission to bring 1 million girls into STEM workforce by 2030, and to this and in the last year and a half, when we've been prototyping and building program Kalpana, we have mentored around 260 girls from different parts of the country who were supported by 50 global mentors. And collectively, they invested over 25,000 mentoring hours in the thick of pandemic. Now, in 2023, we want to reach 10,000 girls through the platform that Kalpana has created in the last year and a half. And we want to reach 100,000 girls by 2025. And we are doing in a mission mode. We are reaching out to colleges. We are reaching out to partners who will be onboarded as mentors, who will bring opportunities to our girls, and together creating a wholesome ecosystem where girls from any part of the world can collaborate with girls sitting in another part of the world and design unique solutions that will not only further their journeys in STEM, but also build solutions for a sustainable world. So I am really grateful today that we have over 900 girls with us today, out of which around 80 are from different parts of the world, and the rest of the fellows are from different parts of the country here. And we can't wait to see how their journeys in STEM pan over the next few years. This is just a glimpse of where our girls in the past have been able to go, like the girls that we supported in the last year and a half have made it to the top global universities. They were supported by mentors who are based across the globe and who are giving their time to shape the aspirations and the journeys of our aspiring girls in STEM who will become tomorrow's leaders way towards a better and sustainable world. This is just a small glimpse of who our team is. We are like together collectively, we have over I think 80 years of experience in terms of the volunteers and the full-time team that has been set up at Vigyanshala, and we've done so far with a small group of team, and we are really excited to leap into this next phase, for which we have our distinguished guests today, helping us, giving us a platform and an energy to launch this mission to mentor 10,000 girls in the next year and a half. So with this, I think, Anushila, with this small introduction to Kalpana, I would like to pass the mic on to you and introduce our guests for the day.
Thank you, Darshana. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kalpana's launch, Kalpana's third cohort launch. And it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our chief guest today. I'll start with Professor Ajay Kumar Sood. He's the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India. He's also the Chairperson of Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council, and the Distinguished Year of the Science Professor at IISc Bangalore. Professor Sood has a doctorate in physics from IISc Bangalore, and he Purushkar for her excellence in technology. Here she was recognized for developing power-efficient semiconductor chips and new rural connectivity solutions. She's also like a stellar figure and inspiration for every girl who wants to dream big. So welcome Nivruti ji, and welcome both of our guests who are here with us today. And I would now like to request Professor Sood to say a few words, and if you can share your slides, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me see if I can share the slides.
Sure.
Am I able to share?
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay. Okay. So let me start by saying that how great I feel at this moment to be a part of this movement in a very small way. You guys are doing a phenomenal work, as Darshana ji described. It's truly a moment in the history of our country, which is really taking shape when you are aiming to make 10,000 girls in STEM in 2023. And of course, it will increase to the number you said in 2030 to a very sizable number, and also has participation across the world. So I can't describe how great this movement is, and I would like to congratulate the whole team at Vigyan Shala, starting from Dr. Darshana, all of you, really to make it happen in real time. So this is absolutely a wonderful movement, and I would wish all the very best for this movement. And we don't have any doubt that this will really go a long way to achieve gender balanced society in all walks of life, not only STEM, but all other STEM, STEAM, all those areas. In every area, we need this gender balance. And this is really India's vision, as you said, towards technology independence, as well as gender equality in our society. So all kudos to you and your team for really taking it forward. Now, what I thought when Darshana asked me to say a few words, I thought instead of being very general, I'll just put forward some effort from the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, where I joined about 2 months back. So for till April end, I'm still a working scientist, but now I have a new hat to wear. And so in this 50 years of experience in academic life, almost 50 years, I have seen a gradual progress in really sensitizing the entire community, the entire society, towards the need for this gender balance. When I started, things were different in 1970s, but now it's so heartening to see that it's not even a issue of debate or anything. Only thing one has to see is how to do it and how to do it fast. So this is the only question. It's not a question of why and so on. That's all that is history. So we are at a stage when we really need to put all the efforts by all the stakeholders. And what you are doing at Vigyan Shala is an extraordinarily important movement, and it will go a long way. So in next few slides, I will say a few things what our office is doing, and say a few words of what another Department of Science and Technology is doing, because I have been associated with some of their programs, and just to bring the awareness. I'm sure many of you would be knowing it, but I just thought it never hurts to know what you already know. So I thought, let me just put it in one place in next few minutes, and I'll be happy to take any questions or discussions on this. So this office, our Principal Scientific Advisor's office, actually has many programs. So this is what I'm going to present is under Strategic Alliance Group program, which is headed by Dr. Sapna Poti. And I'm going to describe the efforts that have been put in towards this. So the first thing which I thought we should be all looking forward is a coffee table book, which is likely to come next year. Already the work is on, and this will have 75 women covered in this. And this is just to see that we put it in one place, which will inspire young girls. And we have the support, as I said, with FICCI FLO, and we also have the support by other organizations. For example, British High Commission is giving the support for international exposure. So this is the book. I'm sure it will be very exciting, and we look forward to launch it next year. So this is something to showcase, to inspire the coming generation, and this will also cover in arts along with the STEM. So now what I am going to tell you that these are some of the programs which are being done under various city clusters. So I want to introduce the city clusters to you, because this is one way where the girl students can be engaged. So what one has done in the last 2 to 3 years, actually it's less than 3 years, our Principal Scientific Advisor Office have launched clusters in few cities. Right now it is 6 cities, 2 more are being added. So various programs are being done in this cluster. This cluster means in a city, all these organizations which come in this domain of STEM are associated. There are startups which are associated. There are business houses which are associated, and the entire cluster tries to aim at some very definitive goals. So in this next few minutes, I'll only tell you things which have been happening in this mission which you are discussing today, namely Women in STEM. So under Hyderabad cluster, we have this program, and our partners in this, which I have written, Syngene and Biocon Foundation, and other things which are on your screen. And what we are in this, what they aim to do is to have the capacity building of women in STEM, and in which 25 women are selected from Tier 2 colleges and provide internship in national research labs with stipend for 3 to 6 months as required. And this is supported, as I said, by Biocon Syngene. Now, these are only some details which I don't want you to get bogged down, but the similar effort is happening in other clusters. For example, here, this is the Pune cluster, and this is again supported by partners like BAS, IIT Madras alumni in the Pune Knowledge Cluster. And again, some details are here, which is very similar to what I told you for Hyderabad cluster. This is another program in Pune cluster partnership with Ernst & Young. And again, you can see that we are bringing girl students in Navodaya schools. And here the idea is to adopt schools. 10,000 Navodaya school children have signed up for this training and usage of this app. So again, this is effort by the Pune cluster. And again, I have given some key pointers to this. We have mentoring sessions, and we identify women leaders as mentors and so on. Then we have this another partnership for technology access and mentoring program, and it has supported 13 women startups in productizing their solution and take it to market. And our partners is this Amazon web series, which will be really making series on programs on that, and that will be again broadcast telecast. So this is another way to really promote and inspire young girl students in STEM that what is in store for them as they grow up in this field. So another thing is that very soon we are launching this platform called Manthan, and this will again highlight women researchers, innovators, and the subject matter experts from the country in a dedicated section on this platform. We will be having success stories from projects undertaken by them and programs and initiatives targeted for women in STEM. And I have already put Dr. Sapna Poti in touch with Dr. Darshana to see how really we can bring this Vigyan Shala in our fold to really amplify your effect. So this is what I said, special feature on women entrepreneur in upcoming reality show on startups by Amazon Prime. And these are again some IIC India International Center JF partnership to have this lecture series by our office. And here we already have very interesting success stories. So we have already had 12 events in total. One is alternating between IIT Delhi and India International Center, and 9 out of 12 events involved a lecture by leading Indian women scientists, engineers from various sections, academia, private or public enterprise, private agencies, and so on. And 3 events were organized for panel discussion. And this project is being managed by Professor Ambuj Sagar and his team from IIT Delhi. So this is the event which is being coordinated by Principal Scientific Advisor's Office. So this is just a glimpse of what kind of lectures were there. Very successful, popular lecture by, as you know, Professor Gagandeep Kang, a really most visible face when it came to disseminate information and contributions to COVID-19 pandemic. This was a great success, which was held at India International Center. These are some of the photos from that lecture. You can see these young girls at the bottom most who were there in this lecture. Second lecture we have from Professor Sudipta Sengupta from Jadavpur University, and this was again done in India International Center. This one, Chandrima Shaha, the first women Academy president. She's now the president of Indian National Science Academy, and very accomplished scientist in biological sciences. This was also a big success. It was arranged in IIT Delhi. Fourth lecture by Neetu Singh from IIT Delhi, Parul Patel from ISRO, and so on. So this is some glimpse of what has happened. So I'll take another 2-3 minutes, if you allow me, just to tell you another activity which is being done by DST, Department of Science and Technology, on women empowerment. I thought I should bring this up because again, it has a tremendous scope and it's an extremely popular program. So they have many programs under Kiran, Wise Kiran scheme. For example, fellowship program for women, which is what I have described here. Then we have Vigyan Jyoti, which is for intervention at young age for girls. And I'm sure many of the participants may be aware of this. there are projects on infrastructure development, namely consolidation of university research for innovation and excellence in women universities, that's called Curie, and then policies for women promotion under gender advancement for transforming institutions, Gati. So these are the programs which have been launched by DST. I will not bother you with this. This is there on their website, but I'll be happy to share the slides with all of you, which really gives the details of what has happened in various schemes. For example, in Gati, what has happened, and in Women Scientist scheme, what has happened, how many women have been trained. In Curie, 9 women universities were supported, and Vigyan Jyoti, almost 12,000 girls have benefited. So again, these are efforts being made. I would not say that this is more needs to be done in my view. And good news is that everyone is sensitive to take it forward. So these are again women technology parks, again in various places in the country, and some more programs by Science and Engineering Research Board in terms of fellowships and other schemes like women technology parks. I will not bother you with the details, but all this goes to show that there is a huge sensitivity to really take this agenda of promoting gender equality in STEM. So I have absolutely no doubt by next few years, the target which you have set in for yourself for 2030, all other efforts are also progressing towards that. And I am extremely hopeful at this stage that we have no looking back and we will only improve on what we are doing. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, and I will stop here and thank you once again for having me on this wonderful program this evening. And I'm sure we will go a long way in our journey together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sood, for this talk and for joining us today and for sharing all the information about what the PSA's office is doing and the Women's in STEM programs for DST. Will be really helpful if you share the slides with us and we can share it with our fellows and they can, apply for the fellowships later on or while they are taking the program. I think it will be really helpful for them and they can disperse it further.
I will do that. I will do that. After this program, I'll send it to Darshana. I have her email. Sure.
Thank you.
Sure, sir. And as you mentioned, I think we all need to join forces in this effort. And I'm really excited about the possibilities of collaborating with your office as well as the Department of Science and Technology, with whom we've been already in conversation. And I think it's a concerted effort that will, help us bridge the gender divide that exists in STEM and actually help women excel and achieve their potential in the various STEM fields. So I'm really grateful and I look forward to collaborating with your office on behalf of Inshallah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Sood will take questions after Nivruti ji's presentation.
Absolutely, but I just forgot to say how delightful it is to share the screen with the accomplished person, most powerful women in business, as you said, and all that. This thing so nice, and I'm delighted really to be here with her. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So to our fellows, we have Nivruti Rai with us because we think you cannot be what you cannot see. She's a role model for all of us, so she will be a role model for all of you. So now I would invite Nivruti Rai to share her trailblazing journey in STEM. Nivruti ji, thank you for joining us today. If you could share your slides and
I will. Thank you very much for such a introduction. It really touched my heart. And Professor Sood, My tremendous regards to you for all of the good work you have done. You are a role model to many of us, including me. So really lovely to hear from you and the passion with which you are driving, this push towards STEM. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to share my slides. The intention of this slide, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
The intention of this slide is just to have a little anchor. My whole goal was to be as candid with you in my journey, talk to you about how many times I fell down, how many times I bruised my legs, my elbow, my soul sometimes, but how I kept getting up and kept running. That's my whole goal. So the slides are just an anchor. But I want to start with, what this program is about. Vigyan Shala's Kalpana. And it got me thinking that imagination is what holds us back. Dreams are what hold us back. The bigger you imagine, the bigger you dream, the more effort you put, and you win. Walt Disney often said, if you dream it, you can do it. So what I love about this program is only limited to what you can dream. The bigger you dream, the bigger you can accomplish. So really love the effort all of you are driving and trying to push a lot of encouragement for women to excel in STEM. So I want to start with my journey. Okay. So I just split my life into three parts. The growing up years, how I, earned values, the value systems that my family taught me. My early professional years, where my mentors, colleagues, partners helped me with technology leadership or understanding of technology. And then the last most phase that I'm in currently, how I learned what leadership meant. It's not about position, it's about the values the leader brings. So early part when I was growing up, I'm a third child to my parents, and I learned something which is called Pygmalion effect. I don't know if you know, many of you may, many of you may not. Pygmalion effect is you keep telling somebody you're smart, you can do it, you're the world's best programmer, you are the world's best semiconductor engineer, and they actually become it. There's a lot of depth to this Pygmalion effect. There's more than psychology. It's belief in you. It's the drive that it brings. So growing up as a third girl child to my parents, I was often witnessing statements that, my parents' friends made. Oh, you have 3 daughters. Oh, you have no son. Oh, your third one is also a daughter. Oh, your first 2 are very pretty. But, your third one, not sure, she looks very different. Not like her mom, not like her dad. And then, growing up, my father kept telling me, you have to dream big. You are very smart. You will become the world's best engineer. My grandmother would tell my mom that do not worry. It's, having a third girl child is amazing. She can be what she wants to be. And you are very blessed, So they would all encourage my parents. And all of that encouragement actually got into me. I'll tell you, I became fearless. My dad would say, you can do anything. You can do, whatever you want. And, people say, it's not really rocket science. When you start thinking rocket science as something very complex, you actually make it complex. And my dad would say, oh, you can be whatever you want. You can be a rocket scientist, you can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, whatever you want. So I found, lots of role models, and I created a vision for myself. I was truly fearless in every sense. My parents would often, in front of a large crowd, say, Nivruti, go sing. And I would just sit and sing. I was never shy. I was never afraid that, somebody will not like what I'm singing, but I did it. And, it gave me so much confidence, became the very early seed value of risk taking that helped me drive innovation within Intel started very early. I could do what I dreamed. I could do what I wanted. Rocket science was not hard. So what? Third girl child, even my grandmother. It's a very funny story, but I must share with you. When people started saying, oh, I was born in Uttar Pradesh, UP, and a lot of people, would only marry a girl with a lot of dowry. So my grandparents would be very worried that how much dowry my parents would have to pay. So she called a pandit from her village, and the pandit came and made a statement which still, rings in my ear. My grandma was asking that, here is a girl, she looks different, and what do you think about her? So the pandit says, she has the capability to lead the country if she wants. And with that in mind, I became fearless. I said, if I put my heart to whatever I want to do, I will accomplish. But it always came with, I have to put my heart and soul, because I remember the Pandit saying, if she wants, if she puts effort, she can, be even leading the country. So those kind of things, my parents' dreams, my parents' value system got inculcated in me. And then, I became an engineer. I joined Intel, started with a very, I would say, tactical kind of work where a tiny little mistake on how the board should be configured, how much memory, how many IOs, where the IO needs to be placed, where the cooling mechanism needs to be placed, where the CPU is, where the chipset is. A little mistake could have, a lot of boards be shipped back. And, I learned discipline from that. It was not a very challenging task, but I learned discipline. And I started getting into understanding the values of what does the delay in wires mean? What does the inductance and capacitance do to the performance? Which metal layer is resistance driven? Which metal layer is capacitance driven, which when it comes to delay? All of that, I started learning from a very boring assignment, and I created a role for me in the CPU development team because I knew how to route. If I have to send a signal from point A to point B, what is the routing strategy I should use? Leveraging the transistors, leveraging the metal layers. Bottom line is, from a boring task, I learned the details. I created a project for myself, and I paved way for me to get into the most complicated, design activity within Intel, which was the CPU development team. And here, I had been married. I had my son when I joined Intel, and during this time, I had my daughter. 2 little children, 3 years apart, was very tough. And I had my in-laws living with me who are old school, who want fresh chapatis every single day. During this tough time, when I was like nursing my little girl, feeding parathas to my 3-year-old son, my in-laws wanting fresh chapatis, 2 times a day at least, and being in the most difficult technology assignment, I became what is called a principal engineer, which is the beginning of a brand that, Intel gives you in telling you that you are a strong technologist. And how did I do it? I will tell you the recipes later, but the one simple thing I can tell you, I heard what people said. I would hear carefully when smart people will give me a feedback. When I would make a presentation, people would say some things. I made sure I hear it well. So I honestly valued the feedback, took the collective intelligence, and created an update on every single project I was working on. So listening, leveraging network, leveraging collective intelligence and applying it to the work I did is what helped me with the technology development that, was the second phase of my life. Once I was established as a technologist, which was honestly the hardest part of my career. It was not that hard. I moved to India in the last phase of my life. I was doing what is called digital designing with CPUs, understanding the 0 and 1 voltage on and off and trying to, optimize my circuits for that. I came into a very different program where we were working on analog design. And anybody who has done analog knows that analog engineering is one of the hardest, because from 0 to 1 and everything in between, you have to value and care for. And during this time in India, this was about, I would say 10, 12 years ago, my team made a fatal execution error. Every time when you take a chip, you make more money by scaling it down to smaller. As a result, on a wafer, you can print many more chips, and the same wafer would generate more chips, so therefore more revenues. So that's a often used strategy for scaling and for creating the volumes that generate higher revenues. In doing so, my team made a fatal mistake. It was such a hard time of my life where 3 billion and B with the billion revenues were at stake. And I can tell you, from September to February, every night I was in the labs with my team trying to fix this issue, and in an analog circuit, because you touch an analog circuit, it's a can of worms, 100 things break. In 3 months to 4 months, me and my team came up with a fix. And I will tell you, I was sitting in one of the conference room in Intel, and back then one of the senior execs had come to India, and he said, when this program, back then this program was called Cantiga, when this program Cantiga was, having troubles, everybody was pointing at that lady, and throughout the whole crowd, he found me and he said, made me stand up. He said, when Cantiga was having troubles, everybody was pointing at this lady, Nivruti. But now when Cantiga is successful, after we had fixed the bug and we created, instead of 3 billion, we created $4 billion revenue. Moms and pops are rising from every single geography. But he made me stand up. He made my team stand up. And I can still tell you those claps ring in my ear. The amount of motivation I got from there was the beginning of my rise. The fall was the beginning of my rise. Why? Because for that error, I was thrown in front of everybody who was a somebody at Intel was taking a dig at me and my team. So we were going out there talking, this is the mistake, here is a fix, here's why we believe it can work. And when it actually worked, imagine the kind of confidence it gave me. I realized that I am only limited by what I think. If I can fix this error, this so complex error which people were not willing to touch. The digital guys were saying, I'm not going to do it, even though it was an easier task for them to do, because they said, if I break something, I will be held responsible. So me and my team took the analog fix, and that, taught me so much. One phrase I coined for my team, which said, in failures, we learn, and in successes, we will earn, because both of those things happen. So no failure goes futile. No challenge is worthless. So we took that challenge, we learned from it and moved on. And I'm telling you, my fall was the beginning of my rise. And that's, after a few years, I became the country head for Intel India. What I've done, people would think Intel, such a rich company, but Intel India has its own limited budget. What I did as a change is in Intel India is rather than sprinkling money on 100 different things, I said 3 things is what we're going to focus on. India is synonymous to data, and data is what feeds artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is what augments value to natural intelligence. So AI is what was a natural focus area. Second thing was India has 650,000 villages. Unless the villages are connected, how will the children in the village access the Udemy course that you and I have access to in Bangalore? So connectivity is important, not just 5G. How can I get villages connected? And the last thing was education. How can I leverage connectivity? How can I leverage technology and enable our children for education? The world has millions, several hundred millions of children who missed school during COVID. And I really think technology and connectivity must come to the rescue. So my entire life, I learned the values of humanity, how technology was critical, and what leadership means. Leadership means making sure your team has the freedom to fly as high as they can, and you have to be the roadblock remover. You have to be there with them. Take all the bullets that come and offer all of the rewards to the team. So that's the learning of leadership that I got. And I really felt that I have to be there to encourage and to create an environment for the team which is psychologically safe and enables everybody to bring their best. You know, women, men, does not matter. I want to give you a little glimpse of my family. I have 2 other sisters, you know, so the top left is my 3 of us. My grandmother, who believed so much in me, and she said that, you know, till she died, she kept saying, you have it in you to lead people, to lead your company, to lead your nation. And she would like encourage me. I have both sides of my brain evolved. I love to sing. I may not be an amazing singer, but I love to sing. And I love to create jewelry. I have 2 children. These are my 2 little children. And now they're all grown up. She works in Bloomberg. He works in Goldman Sachs. She's AI expert. He is statistics and computer science. I love dancing. This is my family now. I love embroidery. The one thing, this diagram is flipped, but you must know this philosophy is called a flow philosophy, and the philosopher is Csikszentmihalyi. What he says is, at every stage of your life, keep performing well, but when you start feeling the boredom of what you are doing, grow your skills and add complexity to your work. So perform really well, scale up. Perform really well, scale up. So continuous training yourself is very, very critical. Dream big, continue to train yourself, leverage the feedback people give you. And what saddens me is, you know, this is a 1970 quote by Shirley Chisholm, who said, I have always met more discrimination being a woman than being a woman of color. To Indra Nooyi saying, you know, women cannot have it all. I really want to defy that. What all means to me may not be what all means to you, but all means my family, my friends, humanity, and my work. I want to do the best I can in all these areas, and I want to have it all. So how did I do it? Science and technology is important because once you are trained in science and technology, you have a structured problem-solving approach. So my 2 cents to all children is, don't give up science and technology till the farthest you can carry with them. When you learn mathematics, when you learn physics, you learn what nature offers you in terms of if this, then this. So the structured problem solving, the flow chart of how information comes is absolutely essential. And I honestly believe technology is the cheapest way to improve lives and livelihoods of people. All of this experiences, three things that you must do is build confidence. Your kalpana should be reach the sky. Sky is your limit, but it cannot be without action. You have to have depth. You have to have the perseverance, the perspiration in your action. Then success is bound to happen. I'll tell you, I was just, I spoke to Darshana. I heard about Vijay. I heard about Sagar. And then I heard this program Kalpana. I'm saying, oh my gosh, think. My Kalpana is to reach the depths of the Sagar. Then Vijay will definitely give me darshan. So that is interesting, but your names inspired me. Confidence, action, success. In doing so, you have to overcome fear. Do not believe women are any less. Women are different, but different doesn't mean less. Stand up. If you are frail, you are 50 kg weight only, so what? You can have power. You stand up, you lean forward, you raise your voice, you use your hands. It's all about the volume of energy that you bring in. Continuously raise your bar. That's why I talk to you about flow, Csikszentmihalyi philosophy. Do the best, learn. Do the best, learn. Always think of feedback, question yourself, prioritize, stretch your limits, believe in yourself, and drive. All of these will lead you to build confidence, help you with action, and work towards success. Last thing I want to share with you, I want to just build it very quickly. This was how I progressed in my career. Start with what you're good at. Do not fear science and technology. There was a time when HTML, when it was not known to me, I remember I was in US sometime, maybe several decades ago. HTML looked magical to me. But when I learned it, I said, oh my gosh, that's so easy. Timing for, a signal to drive from here to there, multiple repeaters, was complex. But I did it. It became easy. You dream it, you do it. Then once you know here is what you're good at, know what you absolutely love doing. Find a passion, because what you love doing is no longer a chore. You know your talent, you know what you love doing, now apply it to where it creates value. If somebody is hungry and you try to give them, a fancy shirt, it doesn't meet their need. So find your passion and talent to be applied in a place where it creates value, and never give up. So what? I'm a woman. So what? I may not be able to have, 180 kg weight or muscle to that effect. I have persistence. I keep telling people I'm like water. I can break through a mountain if I want to. And then build strong network and give credit. I have always said thank you to the people who have done the slightest bit of contribution. Always recognize people in public, in front of their management. Believe me, it goes a long way. I believe in all of the above mantras, and I feel that all of this is what I learned over the course of my life. I'm going to skip this. I want to just finish with a quote. It's a quote in Latin. I don't know really how to pronounce, but I'll say it the way it's written, Dulcius ex asperis. What it means is sweeter after difficulties. I have faced, as a woman, lots of bias. Has it made me negative towards men? Oh, absolutely not. I love my son, my friends, my father, my brother. Men are amazing. But I believe in Pygmalion effect. So do not ever say girls cannot do math. Do not repeat that, oh, the world always says women have to be beautiful, men have to be smart. Don't say that. Because somewhere in their mind, even if you say, no, women are smart, but people say they have to be pretty. Don't say anything negative. Just continue enforcing positivity. For me, the fact that I'm at a positional level where I can help people after so many difficulties having reached there, it's far sweeter. And therefore, I tell you, Darshana has done amazing, has gotten a master's in physics from Cambridge with so many difficulties. She loves it. It's so sweet. That's why with that sweetness, she has the energy to drive all of this. So don't give up anyone. Math is easy, sciences are easy, technology is easy, and that's the cheapest way to impact lives and livelihood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nivruti ji. I don't think I can express in words what I'm feeling right now. It was a very deeply inspiring story, and I'm sure, as you can see from all the emojis and chats that are coming up, everyone loved it. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and in your journey with us. So Darshana, would you like to say something, and then we can move on to questions? And maybe I would like to really give the opportunity to girls to interact with you.
Absolutely, Anushila. Thank you. I think you summed it. I'm having a fangirl moment right now. And I think in the August company of Professor Sood and Nivruti ji, I'm like, I can't imagine of a better start to our dream, like of reaching 10,000 girls in next year and half. I think you've raised the bar for us today, and I'm so deeply inspired. Like, my hands are like, really I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm just not able to, it felt as if we were walking with you through all your phases, like the midnight oil you're burning in your lab. We were there listening to, you're checking all those semiconductor chips and all, and it felt like it was just so vivid and so live. So thank you very much for being so open, candid, and so completely uninhibited, in sharing your experiences with us. So it means a lot to me, and I think every girl who is listening to us, to you today, is feeling equally inspired. So without taking much time, I would say let's open the floor to for questions. And I have spotlighted both our guests now. So girls, whoever wants to ask a question, please raise your hands and we will unmute you, and you can ask your questions to either of the speakers. Yeah, the floor is yours. And please don't hesitate, ask your questions. This is your moment and this is your chance.
And you have to be fearless, like Nivruti ji just mentioned. Yes, we have a hand raised.
Yeah, Ritika, I have unmuted you. I think you can talk now. Ritika, can you hear us? Ritika, can she unmute herself?
She would have to unmute herself. You can only remove the...
Okay, Sukanya, you can go next. You can go now. can you hear me? Hello. Hi, Sukanya. Okay. No luck.
Yes, ma'am. It was so inspiring hearing you speak about your experiences. I had a question for you. Was there any particular point in your journey where you felt like you were very close to giving up? And if yes, how did you overcome that moment?
Oh my gosh. You know, my son was 1 year old when I started working at Intel, and he got ear infection. We kept giving him antibiotic after antibiotic, and for 6 months, that poor little baby was given antibiotics for his ear. He even had to go through a surgery. I almost gave up. I thought it's not worth it. Working like mad and having my little boy go to a daycare center, I almost gave up. It is when I will tell you, a friend of mine whose mother actually gave me an inspiration. She said, Nivruti, she used to live in Pantnagar and she was a professor there. And she said, Nivruti, I gave up like this so many times in my life. I said, I'm going to give up. And she actually gave up. And she said, within few years, she regretted having given up because she said her children would come, around 2, 3 o'clock, go outside to play. And she said, my whole 8 to 5 was at home. And she wanted to go out. She wanted to be a biology professor and she didn't. And she says that regret, always kind of, pinches her. So I said, okay, I'm going to give it one more try. I'm going to give it one more try. And honestly, from the fact that my son grew from 1.5 to 4, he was stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'll tell you that I'm very thankful that I continued, because my children don't just always go to their dad for any question or any problem that they have, whether it is technology related or investment related. They come sometimes to me, sometimes to their dad, and they respect women because of what they saw their dad doing to me and me doing to my work. So they've become the people who respect men and women equally, and that's exactly what I want the world to do.
Thank you, Nivruti, for that very open and honest answer. I think there's one question for Professor Sood that has arrived in the chat for us. So it says, sir, what are your perspectives? Like, how can men make it a more inclusive space for women in STEM? Like, as a society, I think it's an equal responsibility for both men and women towards this goal. What are your thoughts along this line? And
yeah, see, the first thing which you have to say is what you do in your own life, which should be really an example. You cannot just preach something and do something else. That cannot be the way. And in my own life, I have, I have 4 sisters. I have one daughter who is a computer scientist, and our son. So all of us are very clear that it's not given, it's assumed that we give respect whether you are a man or women. It's irrespective of that. And I have large number of girl students who have done PhD with me. And of course, in the class, it's always there. So it has to be really lived. It should not be said. It should be lived. If you live it, actually, you don't have to say it, actually, because it's obvious people are not stupid. So you have to live this, what your values are. And then I'm saying it percolates. So the problem only comes if there is a dichotomy between what you say and what you feel. That's where the dichotomy is. Otherwise, there is no dichotomy. It really gets passed on. So in my life, that's what I have seen. even when I was not in any decision-making capacity. I did that not as anything which I'm doing out of my way. It was never that feeling. It is the way of life. So I would say that if you do this, everything falls in line. So I'm convinced about this, and this is something which is integral part of my upbringing. The way again, I mean, I don't even think twice on these that there can be any other way. So that's my journey. That's how I have done it. Of course, in the last few years, I have some role in decision making, but earlier also when it was not the case, I lived through this with that belief, and also in practice, not only belief. Practice.
Thank you, Professor Sood, for that answer. And I think this will inspire men in our audience to actually be the actions that they want to preach. And I'm really grateful that you shared instances from your personal life. And I think it's really important that role models like you also speak up and share how they have followed the principles all through their life, and so that they can inspire others. So thank you. Thank you for that. There's one question which is for both of you. What are some indicators that you looked for in your personal journeys, both of you, which made you feel that you were heading in the right path? This is from Tejaswini Dhurude, and I would appreciate if Professor Sood, you go first, and then maybe Nivruti ji can answer this one. So.
Honestly, I did not see that I am going the right way. So I mean, it was a journey where I didn't think. I mean, I have a very unusual journey. So I never went to a graduate school in the conventional sense of the word. I taught myself when I joined Atomic Energy Lab. So we didn't have any professor or anything. We taught ourselves the courses, we did our own, we built the instruments, we did that. So I never had that, what you will call that I have to reach there. It was never like this. So in my case, I just knew that I had to do whatever I was doing at that time with all my energy. That's all. I lived the moment, actually. So if you look at, I mean, it's funny that I did my MSc in 1972, and my first publication came out in 1980, when my contemporaries had already finished their PhD and done postdoc. But I was not perturbed. I said I have to do in certain way. I'm convinced, and at that time, that looked only the way to do it. So I don't have that that I have to reach there. Whatever you are doing, you do very well, but you have an eye for really what are the challenges. Don't get satisfied. Actually, Nivruti ji said very correctly. I have always moved on whenever I felt that I'm very comfortable. In Atomic Energy Lab, I was extraordinarily comfortable because lots of money, lots of facilities. I decided it's getting too cozy. So I shifted to Indian Institute of Science. Great place, but no money. But we built up the lab, we built up everything. And same is true in the subjects I deal with. Every few years I change my area of work. So I want to be challenged all the time, and this is what drives me. So even now I change the subject. So this is something which I have enjoyed. For me, when you feel very satisfied, it's really the sign of death. So you shouldn't feel satisfied.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, Professor Sood. Nivruti ji, over to you for this question.
Okay, so for me, I completely agree with Professor Sood. I actually started with what I felt I was good at. How did I know that? You know, when I was going to school, colleges, I was good in math. So I knew that, you know, something that has mathematics in it is at least I am good at. So I looked into actuarial sciences. I looked into, you know, statistical kind of works. And then I also looked at engineering. And why did I choose engineering? Not because I thought that, you know, I'm going to be good at it, but, you know, my dad was an engineer and he was such a role model for me that I wanted to become an engineer. And in my mind somewhere, you know, I may have had this feeling that my parents don't have a son till then, you know, later on I got one brother. But, you know, what can men do that, you know, at that point of time, a lot of people felt that women are not doing as much, and engineering was one of them. So I said, I'm going to do it. And as I started doing it, I, within engineering, started liking certain things over the other. So there is, you know, in semiconductor design, there's something called register transfer language, RTL. You build an architecture using RTL. And RTL is nothing but like a software which creates hardware. So I started doing that. And so many times I would spend hours and hours and hours and not know that the time has passed. I was enjoying writing the code so much that how much time was spent, I did not know. I'll give you another example. I was new to Bangalore. I went to a sari store called Mysore Silk Udyog. And I love wearing saris. In US, I never got a chance. So every moment I got in India, I wore a sari. So I took my husband to Mysore Silk Udyog. And you know, whoever has been there, like, it's now like floors and floors of sari. So I started at one end and I fed my husband, you know, some sandwich, and we went to the store. And, you know, I thought it's just been a while. And my husband started saying, I'm already hungry. I'm saying, you just had breakfast. He said, Nivruti, you don't know, it's 5 hours past since we had breakfast. I had no clue. 5 hours went because I was enjoying Pochampalli and Banarsi and Kota and this and that. So when you don't realize the passage of time, whether I was writing RTL code or whether I was looking for saris, I had no clue what time has passed. And when you have no clue what time has passed, you must know that you're loving doing that thing. So from what I'm good at to what I love doing is I kept moving to create value. Did I actually chart my career that I want to be this? No. Very much like Professor Sood said, I move towards what I am good at, what I like doing. If I had a manager who was not helping me, appreciating me, I changed groups. He was not supporting me. Being a woman, I'm cooking, I'm taking care of my in-laws. I have 2 little children. Still, I am delivering. So if I had trouble, you know, I have actually changed 2 managers in my life because I was not getting the environment for thriving. And I kept trying. After a while, I was bleeding. I was hitting my head on the wall. And when you start bleeding, then you realize there's no return on investment. So I just changed my lanes. So things like that I've done. And I'll tell you, never started my career to be where it is. But I just knew I was loving what I'm doing. And when you're loving what you're doing, you will deliver your very best. And if you're delivering very best, sooner or later, you will be recognized. The processes and the systems will have a way to recognize. It may take some time, but you will get recognized. And if you're not, you know, change the lanes.
Thank you, Nivruti, for that amazing answer. We have next up Aparna. I have allowed your mic. Maybe you can unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Hello.
Hi, Aparna. We are able to hear you. Continue.
My question is to Nivruti, ma'am. Ma'am, I am really inspired by the way you faced your mistake. That's one thing I mostly struggle to do. Like I can't constructively face mistakes and error. So how could you face that like in such constructive manner? What motivated you to keep trying again?
Sure. I'll give you one more story. Very early on in my career, I had to work with Israelis. And if you know the Israeli culture, it's very open, it's very direct, it's a very risk-taking kind of a culture. And I made one little mistake. And, just the same fear. If I admit my mistake, they will anyway say, oh, here is a woman. Oh, she loves to dress. She's only interested in fashion. She's not smart. She's dumb. I had that fear too. So what I did is I started defending. Oh, this happened, that happened. Therefore, this happened. So, all kinds of roundabout ways. A lot of people do that. You know it. And, my one mail generated 100 mails. Somebody responded from there. Somebody responded from, oh my gosh, the amount of time we spent on emails back and forth, like electronic waste to the level of infinity. And then I said, oh my gosh, what did I do? The next time a mistake happened, I said, yes, I made this mistake and here is how I'm going to solve it. Here is who help I need. And oh my gosh, one mail and done. That's when I said, it's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from it and you try to fix it. Nobody is there who has made a bug-free code or who has not made mistakes. You don't learn walking without falling. So don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't think that, even 3 mistakes, even though people will say it's a trend, you can recover from it. I will leave you with one quote that I absolutely love. It's not that, he's my favorite role model or anything, but I just love the quote. It's from Abraham Lincoln. He said, I always failed upwards. When he failed the county election, he went for city. When he failed the city elections, he learned from it and went to the state. When he failed from the state election, he went and fought at the national level and became the president of the United States. So he always said that he learned from his mistakes. And I feel the failures are the best teachers. Don't be afraid. Everybody fails. I failed a million times. But what I do is wherever I fail, I make it an open book. So Darshana doesn't fall on the same pit. She doesn't bruise her arm because I've already bruised. So therefore, my goal is to share all my mistakes and what I did to fix it. How did I recover from it such that you don't fall in the same pit, you fall in another pit. So somebody else can learn from that. So that's what my approach has been.
Thank you, Nivruti, for that amazing answer. So my next question from the audience is in the chat. So it's from Khushi. Professor Sood, it is directed to you. So actually it's directed to you both, but for the sake of time, I'll go with Professor Sood right now. So STEM is a very demanding field, and the initial years of making a career into it are so intense. Being a researcher or STEM student in general, we are bound to spend hours in lab running experiments and doing different studies, which often makes us isolated from the outer world. We even start getting distant from our families sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't feel worth it. Has any such instances been in your life? If yes, how did you overcome that? How did you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Professor Sood.
Yeah, actually the answer Nivruti ji gave actually. The point is you should enjoy and you should really relish what you are doing. Then time is really not the right measure to see how long you have done. For me, it has been also like that. For somehow I don't get tired in this when somebody says, oh, what is your hobby? I have hobbies. It doesn't mean that I don't love science. I love science. I don't get tired, but I have other interests. So the simple answer is, if you are not loving what you do, it will be tough. You have to see whether you can acquire a taste. Sometimes you can acquire taste. It's not that first time you may like coffee. For North Indians, it may not be the case. North Indians may not like coffee in the the first time, but then you acquire taste, and then of course you become gourmet and all that. But you need to have a taste, whether it is natural or acquired. Both really work. It doesn't mean that you should only be a natural scientist or something. It's not like that. You can also acquire. So I think the message is very clear. You need to have this love and passion for what you do, whether you are doing science or whether you are doing music, all are on the same footing. So that's the only mantra I think that's what has happened to me. And I'm sure same is true as Nivruti ji said, it's true for many people, her and so on. So passion and love for what you do is the key.
Thank you, Professor Sood, for that answer and really blending in Nivruti ji's point as well. In the interest of time, we are already at 20 minutes past 7. So if you both permit, I can take 2 more questions.
Sure.
So that we are able to close it at 7:30. Would that be fine?
Sure. Yeah, fine. Fine with me. Thank you. Tell us, yeah. Okay,
thank you, sir. I will unmute one person because I would like our fellows to ask the questions. Who's there? Satarupa, I think Sana Jalili, I will unmute for now. Sana, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so thank you, Professor Sood and Professor Nivruti. The question is actually for both of you. Like, as a woman in science, as Nivruti ma'am said, like, you have to make chapatis for your in-laws. So how did you, just manage the professional and personal life being a woman in science? So that's one of the things I just wanted, and you have really inspired me a lot. So yeah.
Okay, so I will start. While I absolutely love, sciences, and especially math, I'm a very numbers person. But I tell you, I love cooking and eating too. I am a foodie. But having said that, does being a foodie, excite you to cook every single day? In US, it was so hard because I have to go do the grocery. I have to do, the mopping of the floor, the jadus, the pochas, the dusting of the windows, everything, laundry, everything. There's not much help. I will tell you, there were times when I would sleep and I would feel like I'm fainting. That's how tired I would get. But I had told myself that I am going to be a good engineer that my father will be proud of. I was so hell-bent in proving to my dad that, doesn't matter you had 3 girl children, but I'm going to fulfill your dreams. And him being a strong engineer, he respected engineering. He knew engineering was, something that creates value for the country. Of course, other fields do too. But it was my dad who left me with that energy that despite the fact all of the roti making, all of the mopping of the floors, I hated ironing after the, doing the clothes, but I did it. And I will leave you with one small story. I'm such a storyteller because I feel that stories tell the best about, my life. I was doing my master's in New York, and I loved one TV show, and I had to clean my apartment, all wood floors. But I want to watch the TV serial, and I had to run to go to my college. In US, everybody calls school for whether master's or undergrad. I would take a small table fan on the floor, tilt its head towards the floor, and I would mop so fast because, the air would move the dust in one direction. And very quickly, I had the whole hall mopped. So I figured out an innovation to mop my house really quickly and watch the TV show and then ran to school to be on time for the lecture that I had to take. So when you love doing things, you figure out innovations to make things happen. Whether it is roti making, whether it is, creating your lab experiments, or whether it is shopping, you figure out ways. But you have to love doing what you are doing. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Nivruti, for that amazing answer. And we are running close to our closing time. So my last request for our international fellows who joined us from Nigeria and Cameroon, I could see some of them in the video earlier. If they have any question, please ask now before I close the day. So please raise your hands if you have any question.
I guess
Okay,
not in the Darshana. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with that thing, I think you can see the immense amount of comments we are getting in the comments. So on behalf of all our Vigyanshalas Kalpana Fellows as well as our team, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to both our speakers, Nivruti Rai and Professor Ajay Sood today. We are extremely inspired after hearing your personal as well as professional experiences. Thank you, Nivruti, for being so candid and open. Thank you, Professor Ajay Sood, for bringing out the overarching policy perspective to the whole women in STEM and how various levers in the ecosystem are playing their role. I hope it will inspire all the young aspiring girls out there in the audience who are going to shape the future of STEM, not just for India, but for the world. So thank you once again to both of you for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed the event as much as we did. So
thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much again. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Namaskar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nivruti ma'am. Thanks a lot.